Hi there. What I'd like to show you today is a demonstration of a custom panel that I've developed for use in Adobe Fireworks CS5 that will help make it a little bit easier for you to work with physics bodies in the Corona SDK. If you've used the physics API in Corona before, you know that you can specify a custom shape for a physics body if the body that you're trying to create is irregularly shaped. So in the example that I've opened here, which is the collision detection sample code that ships with the SDK, the bodies that are being created and that have the collision listeners attached to them are regular rectangular physics bodies, and so you don't need to worry about specifying any kind of custom shape. And so if we run this code, you can see what happens. The two crates fall from the sky and they bounce against the ground and each other. And if you had the terminal open, you would see that the collision and post-collision and pre-collision event listeners are firing when those events occur. And it works really well with irregularly shaped bodies. What I'd like to show you here is that crate image that is used in that sample, and all I've done is opened it up in Fireworks, rotated it 45 degrees, and scaled it down. So it's essentially created just a bit of an irregularly shaped object. You can see that it has the transparent pixels around the edge. And so in a situation like this, when you're working with an object that has this kind of irregular shape, whether it's something like a diamond shape like this, or a round, or any sort of shape that you want to use, what you need to do is specify a custom shape so that Corona knows to ignore those transparent pixels that really aren't part of the object. If you don't do that, then what can happen is you get some really weird behavior in your code when it's run. So what I'm just going to do is replace the original crate image with that rotated image, and I'm going to run this again. And so you can see that the rotated crates are falling from the sky, but you're getting a very unusual kind of behavior when they're falling and colliding against each other in the ground. You would expect these things to sort of rotate and flop all over the place, but instead they're behaving as if they were just regular square objects, which is not the behavior that you obviously want to be able to have for an object of this shape. So what you can do with the add body method is when you specify all of the properties for the physics body, you can also specify a shape property. And the shape property is a table, and what you have to provide is a set of XY coordinates. And those will define the boundary of the physics body, which may be obviously different in a case like this where you don't want the pixels that make up the ping file to be your physics body. And what you can do now, if I wanted to create that shape table for this rotated crate, is kind of guess at some numbers. I could sit down and sort of calculate this out on a piece of paper, what all those coordinates need to be. And that works okay, but it can be kind of tedious and time consuming and not something that you really want to go through, especially if you're working with very irregularly shaped objects. It can create a lot of, making changes, going back, testing, debugging, and just trying to get things exactly the way they need to be. And that can be a bit of a headache. And so what I did was created this panel in Fireworks that lets you essentially define what you want your physics shape to be, and it will generate the shape table for you. So I'm just going to pull this panel over so you can see it on the screen. This is just a regular Adobe extension that you can install using the extension manager. The panel shows up under the window menu as soon as the extension is installed, and I'll just show you how it works. So what I'm going to do is select a vector drawing tool. In this case, I'm just going to use the pen tool. Because the shape is irregular like this, the pen tool works really well. And all I'm going to do with the pen tool is define where I want my physics body to be. Now, one thing to notice is that when I defined that shape, I laid out the points in a clockwise fashion. In the Corona SDK, when you're specifying the shape table, those points need to be specified in clockwise order. If you don't do that, it crashes, bad things happen, and so you don't want to have your points be anything but clockwise. I don't think it really matters sort of where you start on the image. I started at 12 o'clock and worked my way around from there. I think I could start at 6 o'clock and work my way around from there as well, and it would work fine as long as those points, again, are in clockwise order. So now that I have those points laid out, all I need to do is go over to my physics shape panel and click the Get Path Coordinates button. What I need to do is select the shape that I've drawn, click Get Path Coordinates, and you can see that in the text area here it has spit out a bit of text which is essentially defining a table that I can use for the shape of this object. So what I'm going to do is copy that little bit of text, and I'm going to pop back into Corona, and I'm going to paste that in to the physics body's properties. Here, I'll just move this over again so you can see all of that code. And I'm going to save this, and that'll run the code again. It's going to bring that out to the front. And you can see now that we're using the custom shape that defines the physics body, we're actually getting now the kind of behavior and collision detection that you'd expect given the shape of the object. So I'm just going to run that again because it's all pretty cool. And so, you know, it works really well in cases like this where you may need to, you know, spend a lot of time otherwise figuring out exactly what those coordinates need to be. You'll notice that the stroke here is black and the fill is red. You can use whatever colors you want. This actually doesn't matter at all in terms of generating the code that you need to plug into Corona. Whatever colors you use, if you don't want to use any colors at all, that's fine too. As long as you just draw a path, select it, and click the Get Path Coordinates button, it'll generate those coordinates for you. So right now the tool works with the panel works with the pen tool. I could also use, if this were a circular object that I needed to get the custom shape for, I could draw a circle using the ellipse tool, click Get Path Coordinates, and let's select that, click Get Path Coordinates, and you can see in this case it's giving us a radius of 29. So because you can just specify a radius for circular physics objects, it will give you that code when you create a circle. So the other tool that you can use right now is the rectangle tool. So if you had a physics body that was perhaps, you know, sort of differently shaped for whatever reason, you can use the rectangle tool, click Get Path Coordinates, and it will give you the shape table that you need for that. So as long as you can create essentially a path in Fireworks, it will give you the shape coordinates that you need. So right now the tool is basically version 0.0.1. It's a very early stage, so it doesn't do a lot of advanced checking, like making sure that you actually have your shape selected on the stage. In the SDK right now, I believe the shape table is limited to a set of 8 points that define your shape. So if your shape has more than 8 points, the code will not give you a warning. So that's stuff you have to be careful about right now. Later versions, that sort of thing will be improved and added in. So you don't need to worry about it long term, I guess. But right now, it's just something to be aware of. So I hope you find this little panel useful. It has saved me a lot of time and a lot of headaches, and like I said, I hope it'll do the same for you. If you have any questions about the panel, how to use it, or if you have any suggestions on features that you'd like to see added to it, please let me know. I'm planning to work on this more as time goes on, and hopefully can improve it with your input. So thanks for watching, and have a good day.